Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on retail intelligence with video analytics, drive sales, improve customer experience, and reduce shrink. Every single technology has evolved. The same is true for the humble camera as well. The proverbial fly on the wall that was initially installed for security purposes. Like all things in a store, videos too have become intelligent thanks to AI. Today, video analytics have gone beyond the traditional pattern of security and loss prevention and are providing meaningful insights that can help improve almost every aspect of retail business, right from better product placement to queue management to better marketing campaigns, shrinkage reductions, and so on. Video analytics has emerged as a key tool for business growth, and we are here today with an eminent panel of experts to share ideas, insights, and expertise on retail intelligence with video analytics, drive sales, improve customer experience, and reduce shrink. I am very happy to introduce the esteemed panel today. We have with us Mr. Jaideep Jaiman, VP Analytics and Digital VMart. We have Sandeep Jabbal, Chief Digital Transformation and Information Officer Shoppers Stop. Satish Panchapakesan, SVP Senior Vice President CIO Arvind Fashions Limited. Vinod Kapote, Head IT Trent Limited. And Atul Rai, CEO and co-founder StackU. I would now invite Atul to give a short presentation and share his views on the subject matter. Over to you, Atul.
So thank you, Utesh, for the introduction and giving the opportunity in the first place. So what I'll do, I'll just share the screen and I'll try to finish because I have very eminent people on this thing. So I'll take 5-10 minutes just to complete the presentation and of course give you the brief what exactly we are doing in this particular domain where we are using video analytics to solve the problem statement in a retail area. So of course, as an AI company, when you talk about AI, of course, we started StackU in 2015, and the whole idea is to utilize the video data coming from different sensors, which of course the CCTV is one of them, and utilize it to solve many problem statements which are related to different kind of analytics. Of course, the first thing started with the security, safety, analytics, and then different other stuff we are solving using that. So when we say we are an AI company, so we have done more than 25 plus research papers, and these papers are published in some of the top conferences like CVP or ICV, where the Google and Facebook kind of a companies publish their papers. So far, we have done 100 plus projects, and we also have filed four patents in this area. So in that way, we are a quite mature AI company who have solved many problem statements for many companies. In the retail area, we are working with many brands. We are working with VMart, Starbucks, CIOs, Crocs. So different companies are using the video analytics for different purposes. On the other side, we also have a partnerships like we have Microsoft Azure as our cloud partner. We have Google as our cloud partner, AWS as our cloud partner, Intel is our partners. So in that way, we also work in the partnership with different prominent companies. I'll directly come to the problem statement, right? So when you talk about the retail store, so retail store actually is fighting with the e-commerce companies in many ways, of course. So the benefit which e-commerce is having currently, they have all the data. They know each and every part of the, like when the customer is coming on the website, what particular product they are testing, what they are checking, at what time the overall footfall is high. So they have all different kind of a data. They know all the journey of the customer, right? On the other hand, if we talk about the retail store, they have very minimalistic information. They have just the sales data. And all their marketing plan or their sales plan, all other their planogram analysis plan, anything they do just with the sales data, and that is the only data they have, and that is where we come to the picture. I mean, that is where we enter into this segment where we wanted to utilize the camera as a device which can give you a very powerful insight about your store. And that is something can be done on existing camera. So this is where we entered in this ecosystem to help the retail industry to get the insight from each of their store. So from here on, I'll just try to bring the solution which we have brought here. The first problem statement which we started solving is many of our partners, they have around, let's say 100, 200, or even Raymond's like a company which is having 1500 stores. The first thing they want to have is to bring all their store at one place. That means if I want to see anything, any of my store in live way, I can do that. So that is where a VMS we brought as a part of our solution. Most of the analytics company are working with some other VMS partner, which means video management software company. In our case, we provide VMS along with the Jarvis. Jarvis is our product name, where you can bring all the camera feed at one place and you can access or create a video wall and see all the feeds given that what are the access you have. So this is the first problem we solve, like bringing all the video stream at one place, irrespective of what camera brand you have, whether you have a Hikvision, CP+, Dahua, Panasonic, whatever the camera brand you have, all can be integrated and all can be brought to one place just through the software, no hardware anywhere. I mean, no capital cost you put in there. Now coming to the retail analytics. So if you talk about retail analytics, there are various very important features. Like we have the sales data, but we don't know how many people came to the store. So this is something which we started solving with, right? So for example, footfall is one thing like counting the people, but in our case, it is unique count. It means, let's say maybe your security guard going in, coming out, may be counted as a 2% for a different sensors, but in our case, it is a unique one. So just not detecting the person, it is also tracking, giving the ID, and then that way it is counting that as an exit or entry, and in that way you have the ID of it. The second important part is a planogram analysis. So of course, if you are a store, you have a different areas for different products, right? And in that way, you want to know whether the customer really visiting to that space or not. And this is very important. That way, we are basically mapping each of your camera with your planogram and giving you the insight on that. That this is the area where the footfall is high. This is the area where the footfall is low. This is the area where dwell time is very high. This is the area where the dwell time is very low. So in that way, you can correlate that with your sales data as well. Same goes with the queue time. So queue time is sometimes directly related with the churn rate. So larger the queue, more the churn rate you have in general, right? So this is another very important insight we give from the same camera, which is currently kept as a dumb devices, right? Apart from that, demography analysis is another very important feature, which gives you the footfall in terms of the male, female coming to your store. And of course, you can plan your marketing event and different other stuff based on that. So different time when the female is high, female occupancy is high in your store, male occupancy is higher store. And in certain cases, you are doing a group analysis. What a time where people are coming as a group or as a couple or as a single. So those kind of analysis are happening in terms of demography analysis, right? Another very important part, so far I was talking about more in terms of the customer coming in, right? But there are other important parts. There are different areas inside the store. You want to do as a group analysis that this particular area is being utilized most. In terms of any coffee shop or table, you want to know which table is most like say favorite place for many people, right? So you want to know those analysis also. So this is also being done with the same camera, and every store has their own store view. With that, they can know what is their different kind of a customer inside the store, what is the total footfall happened so far the day. So this is coming live rather than giving you in the end day report kind of a thing. So that is what we also brought to our retail analytics. So whether it's a footfall, queue, heat map analysis, area analysis, demography analysis. So we brought all those to one place. And not only that, we also brought the customer journey analysis. So let's say I'm entering to a store, which particular area I went to first. And then from there, when I came to the queue, and from the queue, when I picked the order. So all these analysis are also happening in terms of the overall your movement or the customer movement inside the store, which you can further utilize to place different kind of a product at a different part of your store. So these are certain mainstream analytics we are doing, which is like, of course, you can say the most frequently asked analytics from different companies. So far, we are doing around 30 plus analytics for the retail area, which includes, of course, the other safety related stuff also, like say fire detection, cash transaction analysis, like how many times the people are paying through cash, or sometimes they might be paying through the card or maybe through Paytm and all that stuff, right? So this kind of analysis is also being done in that way. And in certain areas, like when you're working the gold chains kind of companies, in that way, we are also identifying whether there is any intrusion happening in the different part of the time, let's say in the evening or in the night. If there's any person being seen inside the store, you also want to analyze that kind of analysis for the security purpose. So it is all happening at one platform, whether it's a retail, whether it's a safety, whether it's a security, and all is happening through Jarvis. So Jarvis is having 3 different features. One is a video all feature where you can accumulate all your camera coming from different sources at one place. And I mean, you need not to have a fancy command center. Even you can do same with your laptop also. I mean, you have a desktop, you can also create this video on your laptop. You can see a live stream, and also you can set up what alert you want to go. Of course, in retail, you don't want to get a real-time alert for many things, but let's say you want to know the queue time, or maybe the number of people inside the store. Those things you want to get a real insight, right? So this is all you can configure for different users, or a user can configure for themselves. So, I mean, every user can configure this whole thing as per their own requirements. It's a completely modular software. Secondly, also have a mobile app. And third, of course, desktop version gives you the same freedom as you have in the command center. While we are working from home, we want to get that feel of getting a command center kind of a view in the home, and we want to analyze different data. So further coming into the data analytics, we just talk about, we also give you a third-party API, which you can also connect with your CRM. So let's say you have a CRM where you are basically getting all the sales data, you different kind of a product catalog and all, but in that way, we also provide the API, we can be connected with those kind of a CRMs also. As a boss of our organization, you are not always there to see the real-time analytics on a day-wise. So we give you the audit report part. So you can, with the audit report, you can basically add and basically select the date or month or the year. And for that, you can analyze different kind of a data. Let's say for last 1 year, you want to do the footfall analysis. So you can do that just with the selecting the filters and downloading it. Apart from that, as I said, you can also do different kind of access control. So let's say if I am a user who's a North Delhi ka head, and you want to give the access from to me for the North Delhi, so I'll be able to see the North Delhi. But there may be a person who's an NCR head, so you'll be able to see all the NCR analytics. And in the same way, you can go further. So these are the different kind of a feature you have. So you are just not getting a VMS or VA, but you're also getting different reporting in that way, and different kind of APIs which can be integrated with different kind of basically a software or CRMs which you have. Apart from that, we're also providing, of course, given that you have the permission from the customer, some of the companies are taking the permission of the customer of taking the photographs when they are ordering in the store to tag them as a premium customer. We have started recently with the jewelry kind of a chain, and that way you can also re-identify your customers going to different stores and give them the discounts and different other stuff which they may like. So this is another feature which we are giving, given that the customer is giving their consent in that way. Coming in terms of the credibility, of course, I mean, we have won many prestigious awards in this ecosystem. We won National Startup Award from the Government of India. We won NASSCOM Emerged 1050 Award, and then we won Tile Umis Award. We are the winner of IBM GEP 2015-16. So in that way, we have been a credible brand in this area. We are live with 20,000 plus cameras, and we are serving 100 plus customers. Not only to the retail, we are also serving some of the 9 state police forces in terms of our video analytics solution, which is just for the security purposes. You can have the basically whole confidence in terms of the accuracy side, because we are serving some of the very important customer in that way. And at the same time, the brand like a Starbucks, Raymond's, or Metro Brand, all these guys are using this analytics for their stores, respective stores, for different kind of analytics overall. So this is all. Of course, I mean, I just want to give more time to our speaker than, I mean, giving a presentation. So this is all, Hitesh. Of course, over to you.
Thank you, Atul. I think it was a very powerful and an insightful presentation. Thanks for all the insights. With this, I would like to start the second part of our webinar, and that is interaction with our esteemed guests and industry leaders. My first question goes to Sandeep, and then I'll come to Vinod and Jaideep and Satish. How are the established players leveraging the power of AI, for business? This is a bit a question at 36,000 feet, but you can use all your expertise and answer this, and then subsequently we'll get into the other areas what Atul has also touched on. So how are you and the industry players leveraging the power of AI from a video analytics perspective? We can start with Sandeep.
Right, thanks, Satish. So as we saw in the presentation, most of the areas we have discussed are the ones which we are using, but I think largely it is I would say 3 large areas. A is all the compliances, all the hygiene checks, all the tick the box kind of a thing, that the gate is particularly manned or not, the security is there or not, a section is manned or not by a customer care associate. So these are some of the things which are a kind of a checklist kind of a things, which normally gets covered in an audit, but when you know the audit is happening, you get more prepared. So defeats the purpose. So that is one part which can be addressed by analytics, video analytics. Second is the entire consumer journey piece, which rightly said in the presentation, that online you get each and every click and you are able to carve out, but in a physical store that is very tough to capture. And if you're able to capture it successfully, you can do a lot of meaningful changes to your layouts, to the merchandise you want to display. And with the technology, with technologies, if you go a level beyond, you have 3D cameras today where you can exactly tell which shelf, which item, how much time customer looked at it, purchase, no purchase, then you correlate with the data. Of course, you need to combine a lot of data sets, POS register data, the video analytics feed data, department data, interaction of associate with the consumer data. And the third area is largely related to the counting part or the demographic profile of the consumer, so that you understand what kind of consumers are visiting, what time they're visiting, gender, age, and other things. So these are three areas, but largely in isolation they don't mean much. So if you try and correlate all the data, what kind of merchandise I had, what was the interaction of my store staff, what was the consumer journey, what was the demographic profile, and how my hygiene things were doing, and you combine all this with the sale data, then you very soon start to draw meaningful conclusions.
Thanks, Sandeep. Vinod, your views, the players are leveraging the power of AI in video analytics.
Thank you, Dr. Hitesh, for this opportunity. So historically, players like us, frankly, retailers like us, Hitesh, has been always been focusing on just doing people counting and wanting to know how many people have eventually walked into our store, and eventually just drive the final conversion number out of it at the end of the day, which is always more of a post facto behavior. What we did when we started doing video analytics and use it for people counting, we leveraged AI to not just do the people counting, but do a lot more than that, where in terms of just getting a basic understanding first, whether there is a male or a female customer walking in to start with, and put some basic rules around that, that anyone below 4 feet we will ignore, assuming it is a child, something like that. And basically knowing that, knowing the composition of male and female would really kind of does help, because what are the customer gender of the customer that is walking in. That was the first thing that we did. So in addition to people counting, it did that. AI also helped us, and in fact, not just AI, but machine learning also helped us identify the counts of employees walking in. When I say employees, the store associates walking in who are wearing uniforms versus a customer walking in. If you do a simple people counting, it will just count in. And one of the examples that Arthur also spoke about, the security guy coming in and going out. I think it really helps if you teach the application that this is my this particular uniform, you don't have to count, and this is what you need to count. So that is another big area. One thing that we are also doing, Dr. Hitesh, at our end is we're trying to see whether the color of the dress of the customer that is walking in, can we capture that? And just in the simple RBYG format, we are not interested in the palettes of colors, but at least the RBYG, and figure out is there a color of choice that the customer is looking at. And all of these feeds can actually go inside into our planning system and actually help the buyers and the merchandisers plan their goods properly and in a manner which will help or aid their decision-making process. In addition to this, what we also are looking, Dr. Hitesh, and in fact we are looking at is various areas of work inside of the cash desk. Now this is more internal for us, but we always want customers to not stand in queue, right? We don't want them to go stand in long queues and eventually end up having a dissatisfaction saying, I finished my shopping in 10 minutes, but I have to wait for 20 minutes for billing. That's something that we really don't want our customers to talk about. So what we eventually also are doing at our end using AI is figuring out basis a queue system that we have developed, knowing how many customers are standing on a cash till, And if I have a battery of 5 cache drills in a particular floor and only 3 are open and I have a threshold defined, let's say if 3 customers per cache drill, if that threshold is breached, there is an automatic SMS that goes to the store manager saying your threshold is breached and you need to figure out and open more tills maybe. So those kind of use cases we are looking, and we are very happy that we are able to do all of this using AI and ML together, and actually help our store associates get into better decision making in terms of the customer experience as well as their internal processes. So that's been our kind of a journey, Dr. Hitesh, with video analytics using AI.
Thanks, Vinod. That was interesting. The queue system for cache deals is something, I know it's there, but it's such a beautiful and a wonderful tool that whenever the time comes, you SMS and the store manager takes action and ensures that the crowd is managed.
Exactly.
With this, let me go to Jaideep and ask him about his views on how they are leveraging the power of AI. Jaideep.
So thanks, Hitesh, and thanks, Atul, for the opportunity. So, to answer you on the AI part, I think there is a lot in the entire AI space that can be done, but specifically with the video analytics piece. I think Vinod put it almost all the use cases pretty brilliantly. I mean, I think Trent has been at it. You guys are doing it tremendously well, I guess. But I would want to start with the most basic use case, and I would want to double click on the power of just that most basic use case that video analytics can provide, and that's people counting. So even with people counting happening right, it opens up the funnel. The way it opens up the funnel in digital space, it opens up the funnel which was never there in physical stores. If that happens perfectly, I think there are a lot many. I mean, just to realize this use case, getting the conversion right at every point of customer's journey, when they came into the stores, when they were outside the stores, they came into the stores, then possibly looked at particular fixtures, moved into a particular floor, which floor they moved into. This entire journey, what did they pay, whether they went into the trial room, whether they came out of the trial room, how much time did they spend. All this entire customer journey itself opens up so many opportunities. On the conversion side, how do you improve conversion? On websites, we keep working at it, that we want to improve our conversion from 1% to 2% to 3%. But at stores, we are already at 40-50% of conversion percentage, and 50% of customers are going back. We are not talking about how can we convert 1% more. Okay, so just converting that 1% more is a huge value addition onto a retailer's top line. And so right now, from a video analytics space, I think technology-wise, it's pretty much sorted. It has gone through a cycle of maturity. There were accuracy issues which are stabilizing now. Um, and there have been a lot of pilots and a lot of use cases, case studies that have been successfully implemented now. I think, and analytics. I've seen Atul's presentation in which he was talking about a lot of analytics. Okay, and Vinod was also telling us how on various use cases they have been using certain analytics. Now, I think where we are at as retailers and collectively retailers and the technology in question right now is have we realized the delta in the top line? So with technology getting sorted, accuracy getting sorted, metrics getting sorted, and the entire use cases opening up, I think we are in that phase where we will be able to say we have definitely realized some top delta in the top line, and that has happened because of video analytics. So I think that headline is yet to come. but I'm sure people like Atul will make it happen.
Yes, JJ, I mean, that was a good point, and I'm going to come back to you on the delta in the top line. Before that, I would like to ask Satish about his views on the leveraging the power of AI in video analytics.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Hitesh, Atul, and fellow panelists. I think all of you kind of literally gave a lot of wisdom on how computer vision can actually play a significant role. So that makes my job a little easier. So I'll take this question slightly differently in that case, because especially since I see Sandeep wearing a US Polo orange tee collared. That's my computer vision right across Zoom, to kind of actually identify my customer, right? And then literally profile the product that a person is wearing. Typically this could be a summer spring 2021 collection, if I'm not mistaken. And if Sandeep is going to walk into my store with an orange US Polo tee summer 2021 collection, and he walks in, say, in the month of June, obviously he's looking out for a mid-season or probably close to an USS season kind of merchandise of summer spring 2022 collection, right? And this is exactly where I think it is not it's not about identifying the person or identifying, of course that's important in terms of demographics, the gender, the age, and whether somebody has come as a family, so that we don't duplicate the footfall. I think those are all very important aspects, but it's about how do I really pivot my attention to Sandeep walking into my store, who's come in mid-season 2022, and make sure that all the inventory is actually made available to him in this case, so that his 2022 mid-season merchandise is up to mark, right? So to me, this is a simple example of a customer experience use case which I wanted to illustrate. The most important point is, how do I ensure that this actually happens with computer vision technology, with AI? I think this is where we have actively implemented a few things, right? One is everything that you do in a retail store is somewhere is highly related to the efficiency of operations, right? How quickly you're able to move a product from the back room to the shelf, to that cube where the product has to be there. And there are several obstacles to this in a human world, right? Because you have to do a GRN, you can't do a blind face GRN, you have to have a accuracy on the you have to do some amount of stock audit on a periodic basis, so on and so forth. So there are enough frictions that actually create a loss in efficiency over a period of this journey of the product from the warehouse to the back room, or from the back room to the store shelf. Now, I think one of the things we have actively embarked is, how do we reduce this friction, right? And it's just not for our own stores, it's also for our distributors, for our marketplace partners, so on and so forth. So what we essentially do is we have a computer vision camera basically capturing the entire process of cartonization of the merchandise at the time of dispatch, from the store, and actually logging that entire cartonization process in terms of what went into a shared drive kind of thing on the cloud, which is actually annotated along with products that go with it, and it's actually printed on the invoice. So the store person, he can just kind of do a blind faith receipt of that particular inward by just clicking on a link and then going to the cloud and checking what all the items are there in carton XYZ, and then making sure that there's no further physical checks of the product that is needed, so that directly it can go into the shelf rather than visiting the back room, doing a checkout process out there and then getting into the shelf, right? So this is one illustration of how do I really get that orange tea to Sandeep as quickly as possible as he walks into the store, right? And of course, absolutely relate to the other products, other aspects of use cases we spoke about in terms of the heat maps, the dwell time, the expression and analysis of the emotion analysis of the customer. I think some of these use cases are I would say, a little early in its time. Especially emotions are very, very complex. It has been a while annotation of data for emotions is very, very difficult. You can probably annotate just a person who's trying to laugh or smile or be humorous. But again, you can either say he's humorous or she's not humorous, right? You can't say whether she is humorous or she finds it surprising or she finds it amusing. There are like too many annotations that make your computer vision a lot more complex, and to that extent your error rates are going to be relatively high. So yeah, some of these I'm sure with more and more power coming to the edge devices, thanks to 5G and stuff like that, things are going to be very different. But areas that we are actively contemplating on.
Thanks, Satish. 2-3 things which are top of the mind. One is the cartonization of the merchandise that you spoke about, and how can I annotate a person, because there are too many annotations. Having said that, these were fantastic use cases that you mentioned here, Satish, because exactly we have gone way beyond counting just the the people, counting how many males, females, or walk-ins are there. These things are adding a lot of value and easing the life of the overall retail operations heads and the people out there, and obviously taking care of the compliances, etc. But coming to again Sandeep's TA here today, Sandeep, my question to you is, how can we understand the consumer behavior and the customer behavior and the experience from the current existing CCTV network? And because we have got a lot of goldmine of video data, how can I optimize it to create my strategy as after studying the customer behavior? So this is in bits and parts pieces. We have got some answers, but keeping the customer behavior in mind. In fact, I think JJ did speak about that part of it, and even we had got you had also spoken on the customer journey. But I want a little bit more explanation, or succinctly, if you can tell us about the customer behavior and how it can shape the strategy part.
Definitely. So, we can of course use the existing feeds of the data depending on how much storage you have typically. So you can analyze the data and you can figure out at least the basics of the heat maps and the path the consumer is taking, the dwell time in each section, little bit about if a customer is showing interest, she has picked up a garment, going through it, is looking around for help. Now, these kind of things will definitely give you an insight, whether the conversion didn't happen, whether conversion happened, for what reasons. And you will get a basic idea. Now, once you look at a heat map of entire store, it's very easy to point out the certain sections nobody has visited. Now, that could be because the access was difficult or the merchandise was not placed correctly. Or maybe that item, a customer doesn't believe that in a particular department store I would find that item. So naturally the inclination is different, and you may want to place then those items maybe at an entrance. So using this data, definitely you can figure out quite a basics of the layout. Coming to a specific consumer, like Satish mentioned, that if you're focusing on what a consumer is wearing, and he is in that area and spend a lot of time, you could have a lot of interventions where the section manager of that particular area could be sent a trigger that this consumer has been there and not able to figure out, you please extend assistance. Or you can give capturing the video analytics, you can capture the brand, you can give suggestions that present certain things to that particular consumer. And we do it a little bit differently. At Shopper Stop, we have a personal shopper program, but then that's more guided and that's more closely sitting with the consumer, going through their profile, history, purchases. But here, you could do that for every consumer. Of course, you will not have that depth of information, but at least 2-3 correlations, depending on what you have on the stock. So because you are now correlating what stock I have, you can easily shoot a one-liner that suggests these things to this guy because he's not been able to make a decision, but the guy or girl is interested to buy because she has spent so much time in that area. Now with these interventions, the chances of conversions are definitely high.
Okay, Thanks, Sandeep, on that. Vinod, how can you use this data to understand and strategize the customer behavior, and thus help come up with the solutions? Sandeep did mention about it, but your views before I want to ask another question to you. Just if you can just touch upon this part, then I'll talk about the SOP
Sure.
automation part.
So basically, as you have been saying, Dr. Hitesh, there's a goldmine of data that is actually coming out of videos. There's a lot of information that can be collected when we are looking at the videos that are getting captured and analyze that. Like, for example, if the customer, and I think Sandeep spoke about it, if a customer is picking up a product and looking at it continuously, and for some reason of time, some threshold of time that we say, okay, the moment 3 minutes or 5 minutes are done, maybe some assistance is required for the customer. We can trigger that behavior for the customer experience. Another area of customer experience is a particular area where the customer is spending more time than normal, a particular section of a store. And we realize that she's probably either liking it too much or not able to make that choice. This can be both the scenarios. So, so we can obviously focus on that and understand what is the action that needs to be taken. I mean, for customers, there is enough and more data available to actually read through this video analytics that we can actually work on. And as far as the store themselves are concerned, we can actually spot over a trend analysis, a blind spot, let's say a particular section of a store where no one is walking in. Maybe that can go as an input for store layout if it helps them, because there is a particular way that a customer is probably walking inside of the store because the layout is such, and that particular section of the store is not being not seeing enough love in terms of walk-ins. So that obviously can help the layout to be probably looked at for the future stores or even for that particular store for the brand. So it really can be used in multiple ways.
Sure. My next question is to JJ. Jaideep, how AI-powered video analytics is enabling SOP automation, so and employee productivity analysis and internal pilferage. So you can take any one of the areas, either SOP automation or pilferage minimization, or you can talk about employee productivity. Then I'll ask the other question to Satish.
So I think, in short, it's actually touching upon each one of them. But if we were to talk, let us say the first one, SOPs, okay?
Yeah.
I think SOP adherence is something that where a video analytics can play a large role, and is playing a large role, and it's pretty obvious. Okay, it's not just about analytics; it's also about having just the video feed available, as in what Satish was mentioning, a brilliant use case in that area. Okay, the way they have captured the cartoonization in the video. Okay, there may not be a video analytics involved as per in that specific use case, but just capturing the video itself of that particular activity that is supposed to happen at possibly 2 touch points, they have reduced 1 per touch point automatically. Okay, so not only it is SOP adherence, it is also optimizing the effort you are putting into it. So if you do a SOP adherence, you have also improved employee productivity and across the chain. Okay, so I think there are many such use cases and many such opportunities in each of the SOPs involved. Okay, to reduce the shrinkage also. Okay, so let us say, for example, I mean, you have a peak season, as in peak hours at which stores make most of the business. That time, if your store is not neat, okay, neatly stacked, okay, which can easily be seen by videos, and also video analytics. Video analytics can learn, AI can learn on top of the videos, which stores looks cluttered, which looks neatly stacked. Okay, so if just such a simple thing is done, your peak hours are optimized for best performance. Your store is ready for best performance, and at HO you know it that let us say my stores are going into peak hours at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on eve of Diwali. Every store is neatly stacked and ready. Okay, so this kind of use cases. I mean, right now I think we are in early stages of video analytics adoption. Once it is mainstream, that time I think we would have realized so many. I mean, literally took the gold out of gold mines. That it will be pretty obvious to us. All these things will be pretty obvious to us.
Pretty obvious to us. That's what Jaideep is talking about, and I support him because even today we are at the initial stages, and there is a potential for humongous growth ahead. Coming to Satish, your views on SOP automation was there, employee productivity and internal pilferage minimization. So these are the three areas. If you can succinctly throw some light on that.
Yeah, see, I think retail is all about square feet productivity, right? So I think every inch of every square feet of the retail store has to be well merchandised with the right assortment, with the right depth and width, and that is what, as a fashion company, as a fast forward retailer, we really look at, and this is a promise that each of these brands hold for us. So from that perspective, if you look at the metric as how do I maximize my square foot sales, it's all about triangulating the data with respect to product availability with the customer information, right, in terms of whether we are pre-season, in-season, mid-season, or end of season sale, and then having these two data points triangulated with the actual moment of truth, which is when the customer actually walks in, right? So if we're able to triangulate these three data points, i.e. product, the duration, or the tenure of the season, and the actual moment of truth, right? The actual moment of truth is normally the unknown factor, right? You don't know when the customer is going to walk in. You probably know approximately based on the CRM data in terms of birthday and so on and so forth, but actual time, if you really get to it, it's going to be a little difficult. So if you are able to triangulate these three data points, then it all gets down to driving retail efficiency, right, in terms of product placement, in terms of pricing, in terms of ensuring that we have the right level of visual merchandise actually kept, so that we are able to communicate the proposition to the customer effectively, and so on. So of course, we spoke about a specific use case of how do I create a more frictionless movement of the product itself, right to the square feet space rather than going through multiple hops. But in order to, but that can be further augmented by the triangulation of these three data points. So that is point number one. Specifically with respect to pilferage, I think one of the big inventory issues in a retail store, especially the large formats, I'm sure Sandeep can probably relate to it better than some of our stores, is that you have the merchandise available at different parts within the store, right? Something could be in the trial room, something could be in the probably just gone for a temporary touch up or a repack. Something could be lying in the returns wing of the billing counter, or something could be just misplaced because the customer didn't place it back in the right place and it wasn't taken care of. Now this is actually a very, very important area, touching upon pilferage, of course, because this is where when we do stock audits, you generally don't ensure that you have counted all these aspects. But this is one critical area where computer vision can actually play a significant role, with a combination of technologies like RFID, for instance, where we can make sure that the location of the product can be kind of zeroed in more accurately, and then a combination of that with computer vision could actually help us locate and repurpose the product back to its location, and hence effectively making sure that pilferage is reduced, and B, ensuring that there is no loss of loss of inventory because of or loss of sale because inventory not being found in the right place. So broadly, some of these things are still emerging. If you just go back to what the leaders in the industry are doing, like for instance, Amazon, this walkout technology, or Amazon Go stores that we have, they have actually fundamentally, premised some of their overall shopping proposition around these ideas, right? I'm sure there will be some of them which will be relevant to certain formats, and some of them might not be relevant to certain formats and categories. But broadly, I think these are some directions that we are looking towards, Dr. Hitesh.
Thanks, Satish. Atul, this question is for you. Can you throw some light on how video analytics can help in more targeted marketing and advertising campaigns? So if you can give some example or throw some light there.
So there are, of course, a couple of ways of doing it. So first, I'll identify the primary one, which is basically, of course, I said, like, we talk about very basic thing, the footfall, and it looks like very simple problem statement, but it's a very toughest problem statement in computer vision. Why? Because when you do analyze any video, you get every frame independent of the previous one, right? So you count the people, and then that counting need not to be repeated, because you have to know that this person is already being counted. So in the next frame, when it will come, you need not to count that. Otherwise, the whole counting will be wrong. So in that way, then you have to track that particular person in each frame. And if there are 5 people, 10 people, and they're passing through multiple camera, you have to count all of them. So counting is one of the problem, which is a fundamental in terms of knowing what is your footfall. So let's say you run a marketing campaign, right? And you run that marketing campaign, and based on that, you want to take, basically you want to know as a CIO, as a boss for organization, whether that converted to a footfall or not. So currently what we are doing in the current, like you say, the conventional manner, we are directly looking to the basically the sales part, right? But it is not always true that if it is like marketing is successful, then it will always convert into sales. Maybe the product was not good, or maybe the product placement was not good, or the targeting was not good. So that can be calculated using the computer vision. So that's the first use case where you are like directly correlating the people footfall or the customer journey with your basically the your marketing campaign which you're running, right? Let's say as a particular big brand, I had some hoarding inside the city, and trying, or maybe I had Economic Times or the Times of India, I just done some campaign to come to our shop and I'll give discount and all. So that is one way of doing it. The second one is, of course, the many companies are doing, and of course, when I've seen that Tata is having that kind of ecosystem, offline, online, all can be merged at one place. But before that, like just one step back, right? If I am a person who might be purchasing one thing from one of your shop, let's say I'm purchasing a coffee from one of the shop, and then in the other city, I'm also doing the same. I'm using your shop again and again. Can this particular person can be treated or given some special, you can say, a discount for that? So again, in that case, without knowing this is Atul, you want to extract my facial information to basically give them the discount, right? I mean, you are just so there's a two thing, of course, there's a fine line with the privacy and all, but here you are not knowing the person, you are not knowing the location. Of course, when you do the marketing or the sales activity on the Google also, you have to draw that fine line. You're not knowing the real person, but you're knowing an identity that this particular guy is very repeated visitor or the premium customer for my store. And of course, you have the store, the chain which is there. So that means more like identifying the appearance analysis, and then of course targeting your customer in that way. So these are the very, fundamental computer vision techniques are being used by many of the basically people to solve the problem, or basically tackle the marketing or targeted marketing thing inside the ecosystem.
Thanks, Atul. We have got a couple of questions from the audience, and I have got many more. But let us try to address, because in the interest of time, another 10-12 minutes to go. And if we can answer these couple of questions, I would ask our panelists to answer them. First question is there a way to predict manpower requirement for the store based on video data? If any one of us can answer this question, please.
If you don't mind, I can answer on that. So
please.
Basically, of course, one is, of course, as you said, like the queue management is one of the important component. You want to know like what is a queue time for your particular POS machine, right? So let's say you have a 10 POS machine inside a billing counter, which you say inside the store, but 2 are working and that queue time is very long, right? So based on that, you can analyze, okay, this is my peak time, and this is a peak time where you need more number of managers. So rather than hiring 10 people for the whole day, you might be having a shift where you need know that this particular shift is having highest footfall, and based on that you are planning the whole you can say the employee part or having managers inside the store. So yes, queue management is one of the important use. You can say the analytics, which can be directly correlated with the whole basically hiring in terms of the manpower and all. I mean, of course, others may be having some there.
Any other addition to this? What Atul has said right now.
I think I'll only add that it's a retail place is also about optimization of the workforce, right? Where typically starting from the store manager down to the cashier, people are generally multi-trained, by and large, right? So it's about how do you make sure that the skills of the individual are actually applied at the right time, right, and in the right context, right? For instance, if there is a queue build up based on the heat map, then obviously you need to open up a extra register and then more people there. But if that's going to if that's not the case, then you could repurpose people for some stock audit activities, right, which has probably been backlogged, or which could actually help improve your inventory position and product placement, right? So I think if you look at it as a broader canvas of tasks versus people versus the capabilities and multi skills that people carry, then I think the opportunity to do to even emerge a more optimal ROI for a CV is significant.
Thanks, Satish. Another question is from the audience. Video analytics have been around for some time, helping identify which areas in a store are more attractive, tracking customer movement in the store, etc., footfall count, etc. What makes the current set of solutions different from the earlier generation video analytics? And also, what is the kind of ROI? So basically, what is the difference? And because right now, what JJ also mentioned, we have just started, and there is a humongous scope. So this question is more from the earlier generation vis-a-vis the current one, and the kind of ROI that these kind of investments, give. Because there is one question on ROI and what are the investments needed for this. Atul can also throw light subsequently on this question. But if any one of the panelists can, also answer this question on with the difference and what is the ROI that we can get from this investment.
I would like to take this up.
Please.
Because I think I'm part invested in the earlier generation of video analytics. So I think there is no earlier generation of video analytics or video analytics as the technology hasn't changed much. Okay, there's understanding around it that has changed a lot. Okay, so I remember very long back, somewhere around 2016, we used to talk about what is the exact accuracy percentage. Okay, how much accuracy do you promise? Okay, in every room we used to talk about how much accuracy on video analytics do you promise. We promise 92, 93, 99, 99.9. Okay, it used to look like CAT percentiles. Okay, so nowadays the understanding has emerged better. The better understanding is even if you are a little bit inaccurate, it doesn't really break the business case for it. Okay, even if you are a little bit inaccurate, but the consistency of inaccuracy is there. Okay, you are on the same pedestal as Google Analytics. The way Google Analytics does tracking of customers on websites, it is also not 100% accurate. Okay, there will always be 20 to 30%, as much as 20 to 30% data mismatch in the traffic also. Okay, but traffic and the related orders and things. Okay, there may be. Okay. Now, on video analytics, we are trying to get to 99.9% accuracy, which doesn't really help anybody. Okay. At this point in time, exactly if there was a person coming in, whether we counted just 1% or 2%, that doesn't make or break the case. What makes or breaks the case is whether across 3 months, each day, we have been able to spot the trend that our footfalls are going up, whether footfalls are going down. And I'm just taking one use case over there, and that is people accounting. There are many such things within the expectations from the technology. So people have, an industry has understood the technology much better now. The use cases are defined much better now. I feel it was from Vinod's verbatim. I'll take it that if there are 4 or 5 cache tills, okay, whether only one of those cache tills is occupied. I'm a bit confused whether it was Vinod or Sandeep, but I think that was a brilliant use case. Okay, because that is not about accuracy, that is not about anything else. It's just about simple something basic, and increases the employee productivity a lot. Helps us right in those hours when we need most productivity, and that is in peak hours. Okay, decreases the queue length. Okay, so there are a lot of things which have happened around video analytics now that the technology has been there, that people have understood and formed the use cases much better. And that is where I think the path of ROI is also coming. When we adopt, ROI can only come when we adopt technologies. ROI cannot come when we have technology and in only a pilot phase. Okay, ROI can only come when we have adopted the technology, we have been using it, and we have been owning it up like a product manager. Somebody who owns the site's conversion percentage, if somebody is owning it like a product manager, each of these use cases, only then the ROI will come out. And as retailers, brick and mortar retailers, all of us are moving into digital space. We have come and understood that each of these use cases or technologies need product managers. Okay, people have to work like product managers. Whether your functional users are there, they can work like product managers, or whether you hire somebody else and have a program around it. Okay, so I think we have realized that, and that is where we are moving. How can we have dedicated resourcing around these use cases, which can eventually result in delta. Now the confidence in the technology is there, use cases are clear, there is a delta clear, then people resourcing is also happening. So I would not have a clear answer right now what is the ROI, because there are too many of use cases to count. But I am sure that one of those use cases will soon form a headline.
Sure. Another question that we have is, it's related to commercials, ROI, same thing. One is, and I'll ask this final question. One question has come, commercials for small size companies, what are they? Second is, with so tight margins, how does a retailer be able to invest more in technology? Because again, he's looking for ROI. Okay? He's feeling that, margins are less, tight margins, wafer thin margins, and his investment in technology is more. So what will be the ROI there? And yeah, so these are based on that. Anybody can answer this question before I move to the penultimate question.
So if you don't mind, okay, I think, yeah.
Please. No, that's okay. I was just reverting on the licensing part of it, Dr. Hitesh. I think more than the numbers, I think the model of licensing on how you want to deploy this technology is important. Each organization will have a different appetite to consume this technology, and in the way they would want to consume it. There are capex models, there are OPEX models, and there's a hybrid of both of them together possible. So for small size organizations, what suits them as per their own appetite is what they should be focusing on. If it means that a revenue cost of just, let's say, 600 rupees or 700 rupees a camera input is good enough per month for them, they should go with that, if that is what is the number that they can consume. Or if it means that they want to, and then obviously there is a cloud option that they will work with there. But if they are okay to probably have a machine that will have a graphic card in it and deploy it as a capex in their environment, and is ready to invest a one-time investment of 70,000-80,000 rupees for 5 years maybe, or 3 years maybe, then they can take that route also. So it depends on the appetite and the type of licensing model that they will take.
Sure. Yeah, Atul, you were telling something.
Yeah, actually, I was just coming to the same thing. Of course, there are different pricing models. Like you can go as a SaaS, you can go as a capital cost investment, and both of them have their own advantages and disadvantages, right? I mean, when you go with the SaaS model, you can further add new features, new things in the future. But when you buy one-time hardware, you might not be able to do something which is maybe useful in the future, because AI is emerging you can say the technology. So maybe something new will come in future, and in that way you have to again do some new purchase or something. So that's why people go for the SaaS business model, though we are operating in both of the areas. But I feel with the SaaS, it is now even easier for even small stores with like 700, 800 rupees kind of investment per store. They can, start using this kind of a technology, given that what exactly they want to capture.
Yeah. Sure. The final question here would be how privacy regulations are met and customer concerns are addressed, because it's all about video.
Yeah, so of course. So there are two things. One is, so basically when we go to the GDPR compliance, which is of course this is sacrosanct in this particular whole thing, right? When you talk about privacy, right? So the first part is, of course, when you talk about even such compliances, this first thing which is it asks you cannot re-identify someone with their basic identity. I mean that's something which every law prevent anyone. I mean the Google is doing the same thing. They are tracking a person on a different website, but they don't point it out. This is Atul who came to the website, right? So this is the same with the video analytics also. In our case, when we are trying to do footfall count or let's say planogram count, we are not identifying this is Atul was there purchasing something. It is more about a customer was there who, or let's say group of customers were there who are interested in this kind of merchandise or something like that. So in that way, when you are not identifying a person, I mean, you are not putting an identity to the person. It is completely, I think it's legal. And of course, with the whatever the law we have in India so far, it's also says the same thing. If you're not tracking a person with his identity, it is not hurting any privacy anywhere. That is one thing. Second, in terms of the data privacy. So there are two ways. Of course, when you're working with a customer, let's say any of our customer we are working with, whether it's a Raymond or Starbucks, anything, right? So they are doing all these things on their own cloud. Means the technology, even with the SaaS, we are deploying the software on their clouds. That means that data is always with them. It is not going to a third party, because let's say Google is taking all the data they might be serving to the different customers on the e-commerce website. But it is not the thing which you are doing in the VMS or video analytics. It is being basically installed on a particular company's cloud, which is taking this service, and data is lying there. So this is like the both of the way, whether it's a data privacy in terms of the customer itself or maybe the end customer or the user who's coming to the store. So that is how you can basically, of course, do the thing. I mean, yeah.
Thanks. I think we are, short of time. We have already crossed 4. But this one last, this question, and we in a minute or so, if all our panelists can say, what would be the road ahead and the importance for, retail intelligence with video analytics. If this can be, succinctly spoken in 1 minute's time, I can start with Satish, and then we can take it ahead from there. Your final words on the retail intelligence with video analytics, please.
I think I kind of said this earlier. So it's about bringing the product, the customer, and the moment of truth together, right? And moment of truth is what video analytics really helps us capture, because that's the dynamic data. Product and customer are by and large static data. So if you're able to bring in that element of moment of truth into the customer interaction vis-a-vis the product or service, then I think we'll be able to enhance experience, we'll be able to improve profitability, and of course we'll be able to contain pilferage to a great extent.
Thanks. Vinod, your views, please.
Yeah, I think Dr. Satish, it is important that we learn along with the AI ML maturity that is happening as we speak. I mean, today the technology of AI ML, whatever said and done, is still at an emerging level, if I may say so. And it will mature over a period of time, and using different use cases that we can actually help not just for the customer experience, but also for the store associates and the store teams who are working for us is where the technology should move to. And I think that is going to be the crux and the success for this video analytics going forward.
Okay, thanks. Sandeep.
See, I believe the customer's perception of the store, the journey customer takes, the time customer spends in a section or a product, and the interventions we can do where store staff can help. If you put all these things together, your conversion goes higher, you know your store better, you know your product better. And definitely it's going to add to your top line for sure. So ROI is definitely in place.
Okay, thanks, Jaideep.
You're on mute.
Just give me a minute. Yeah. So I think I'll repeat it again. I guess it's only about the right use cases, finding the right use cases which deliver ROI for us. And I think it has been already touched upon by my fellow panelists as well. I think we are at the stage. The road ahead is at that stage where we have right use cases in hand. It's only the matter of time when we will have a very good clarity on what kind of an ROI can be achieved on each of these use cases, and possibly when then this technology will become mainstream. That's
okay. Thanks. And Atul, your last views, please.
So of course, I mean, if you talk about video analytics, currently we are trying to capture the data from the store and of course making a decision making or something. But near the future, I believe it will go more in terms of prediction part. Like this particular product will be more maybe in demand in the near future, and based on that, maybe the whole manufacturing, everything will go in that way. But that will come when we have more data and more training in terms of the AI. So currently it is at a stage where you're detecting and you are identifying the basic pattern, but in the future, it was more about like predicting the pattern. So I think this is the future which we are going to see in the retail.
Nice. With this, gentlemen, we come to the end of this wonderful webinar. A couple of points which I have noted down as a takeaway is the Trivedi Sangam, or the three pillars of product, customer, and the moment of truth, where both the dynamic and the static data comes together. Learning along AI and ML will mature. So we'll have to keep learning till the time we achieve and arrive at that point. Use cases will help share a lot of will help the store associates as well. And till the time they are not involved, it becomes very difficult for us to penetrate further and ensure that more ROI comes in. Customer retention, journey, time, and the interventions needed will definitely be discussed and will be more evident with video analytics, and thus will help realize the customer conversion and then the ROI. Right use cases that will deliver the ROI. So again, that right use cases is coming again. It's just a matter of time that we will arrive at this. And last but not the least, from decision making with the current data, we will get into the prediction mode and become more adaptive in future. So this is what is there for video analytics, and I think the future is exciting. And like many of our panelists said, this is just the beginning of retail intelligence in video analytics as far as India is concerned. A humongous growth opportunity for modern retail in India. And with these kind of technologies, I think the customer is going to be delighted in the coming days, because he's going to get the best of products, service, and so on and so forth. And so will be the retailers as well, because they are going to get their deserved and desired ROI. With this, thank you very much for joining us today, gentlemen. It was indeed a pleasure to have this wonderful deliberations with all of you. Till the next time when we meet, thank you very much.